Hi guys, it's me again. KO Cool, what's up, y'all? Hey, before I start, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff, because it's free and it's how you can support my baby little channel. I know I mentioned to you guys that I feel that this was not Bryan's first time doing what he did. Two other incidents that line up almost exact to what he did, time, date, how he did it. I'm going to go through them, and at the end I'm going to add a fourth, because I think he was a serial iller for a few years before he's actually been caught. And I think that's why he got caught, because he became sloppy. Most serial illers at the end of their evil reign get caught because of not being caught for all those others, and they just get more and more confident, and I guess they're not as meticulous. So let's get into these. The first person that I want to talk about is Sandra Ladd, 71-year-old lady from Portland, Oregon, and she was unalived in her sleep between 1 and 3 a.m. on the 13th of June 2020. I believe this was his first, because to pick a low target is generally the modus operandi. To pick someone that's going to be easy, and a 70-year-old lady, easy target. So I believe this one was his first, and there has been no findings, no suspects, anything to do with her crime since then. Same story, went in at night, stabbed, can't say that word on YouTube, in her sleep multiple times. And then there was a second one. And the second one was also very, very similar. And this was Travis and Jamie Lynn Jueton. They're a young couple from Salem, Oregon. And both vegans, believe it or not, similar to Bryan, unalived in their sleep at 3 a.m. Fortunately, Jamie Lynn lived. She doesn't feel so fortunate because she lost the love of her life. And apparently he fought hard. And this young couple had a friend staying over because they were going to Hawaii for a holiday the next day. And this friend was going to stay over and babysit their cat. And I believe that that is when the intruder was startled and ran. Similar to what happened with Bryan in Idaho, since I don't think he thought Ethan was going to be there either, or DM. I think he was startled and he ran, because in his mind everything is perfect, everything lines up, it's all done like a machine, and then when something else comes in, it would probably startle him and make him want to run, because it's not going to as he planned. This young couple were brutalized and they were bashed, because Bryan is a kickboxer, and I do believe he did subdue many of his victims with bashing them. Jamie Lynn lives with 19 stab wounds. There has been no suspects and no reason for why this happened. These are all close in area to Bryan. And the first lady I mentioned, Sandra, being from Portland, I believe it's the vegan capital of America. And I do watch Portlandia, and it does look like a real hippie place. A lot of, new age thinking, vegans, health, vegan superstores, all that. So it would bring Bryan to that region. And maybe the second couple, I'm not too sure where they worked, but Bryan may have come across them, chatted to them in a vegan restaurant, seen them in a vegan supermarket. I don't know how he chose his victims, but I do know that both of these were done on the 13th of a month, in their sleep, in the middle of the night, with a knife. That's pretty scary when you think. Two separate incidents, so similar. Now this brings us to the 13th of November, 2022. So you've got 2020, 21, 22, one a year. I think he's upped his game with this one, because he's become way more confident. He started off with one unaliving, and then he attempted two, but he only got one. And then this one, he's like, well, I'm going to keep to the plan, and I'm going to do 3. And that is why I think Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee were probably all targets for him, because females was definitely his target. Males got in the way. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not too sure. But the way he did this one was almost exactly the same as the other two. And we know that this one is Bryan Kohberger. The other two we don't know. The similarities are uncanny when you think about it being the 13th of a month, in the middle of the night with a very, very large knife. And they're all in the same area they're all like within a 5-hour driving radius. The Salem couple were further away, but I just think he moved around. He was just trying things out. So the similarities are incredible with 3 separate crimes. And one of them we know was Bryan. Apparently, he's the only one that's going to be the suspect. Mark my words. This guy did it. He has everything lines up with serial killer personality. You can go back and look at one of my previous videos where I talk about how he has the dark triad personality. He can be charming and friendly to people. He can try and fit into society. He may have an off vibe sometimes, but he generally wasn't too scary. He was going under the radar, so he thought. And from what I said in my last video about him loving BTK, and he studied BTK, and we know that because he studied under Catherine Ramsland, who was all about written books about BTK, and BTK had his MO. He did everything the same every time. And that is a thing about a serial killer, is they love creating that same feeling, but they quite often up it. So the next one's even more extreme, more extreme. They keep upping it because the adrenaline rush they got from the first one, it's not going to happen if you just keep doing that same thing all the time. So when he got to the Idaho one and things didn't go his way, I think that's when he really started to freak out, because the 2 previous, no suspects, nothing, no DNA, nothing. Let's hope they found DNA at both those scenes though, because it could connect him. The 4th unaliving I want to talk about was not the same points, as in it was on the 28th of July 2021. So it was very close to the young couple. It was just before them, like days before them. And I feel this one was in Piedmont Park, Atlanta. And once again, it was a brutal unaliving. This person had 50 separate STAB wounds, and she had a lot of broken bones. She had a fractured skull. She had other broken bones in her body, and they did say that it was like she had been bashed before the person actually stabbed. So the weirdest thing about this one was it was in public. It was in the middle of the night though, but it was in public, which doesn't fit the MO of the other 3. But maybe he was just trying out new things, you know? Who knows? We're not serial killers. We don't know how they think. So we've just got to guess. But a lot of the things line up in this crime, as in they have absolutely no suspect. This lady was a loved lady, had no enemies. She was out walking her dog. But they did get CCTV footage of someone running out the park half an hour afterwards. This person, to me, looks like Bryan. What do you guys reckon? It's very blurry, but he has a very similar stature to him. Same color skin. We know that Bryan loved going for jogs. And people are like, well, how could you do that and then run out the park and not have blood all over you? Well, because he thinks everything out. He'd have clean clothes there. And plus at that park, there was a big lake in the middle of it. So he's probably jumped in there, cleaned himself off. I'm just theorizing. I have no clue. But the weirdest thing about this one is he actually carved FAT into this woman's chest, which is the most disturbing of them all. We don't really know what happened to the Idaho 4. We don't know how brutalized they were. There's no evidence. There's a gag order. They won't tell us anything. So we don't know if these types of things happened. But I would not be surprised if the 2 that have defensive wounds, that they were bashed. I wouldn't be surprised, because that is how he subdued his victims. I don't know if he tortured any of them, but that lady in the park was a scary one. And he also unalived her dog. But her dog was a pit bull, and he would have been quite aggressive. And I think he just needed to do that. Or maybe it was a ploy. Maybe the dog went off into the dark and he slit the dog's throat, and then next minute she's come over and he's done the same. I don't know. We're just theorizing. But the thing is, we've got 4 heinous, horrific crimes. And they are all quite similar. And 3 of them are unsolved. 1 has been solved, in my opinion. I believe he's guilty, and until he's proven innocent, I actually do. So I hope you found that interesting, of all the other connections, because when it comes out that he is a serial killer, I, for one, will not be shocked. Will you? Do you think this was his first time? Do you think he's connected to the other ones? Let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!
Good vibes in, and the bad vibes out. You feel me? You dig? Cheers, ballers! How it feel? How it feel? Feel so real. How it feel? How it feel? How it feel? And that feels so real. How it feel? How it feel? How it feel? Feels so real. How it feel? How it feel? How it feel? And that feels so real. How it feel?